Hi, and welcome back to Small Caps. I'm your host, Jess Furtick, and today I am thrilled to welcome Bevan Wakelam to the show. Bevan is the CEO of Octava Minerals, and the ASX ticker code is OCT. Welcome, Bevan. It's great to have you on the show with us.
Hey, Jess. It's nice to be here.
Well, Bevan, just before we delve into some of your recent news, and you've got some very exciting news that you've had with an acquisition and a cap raise, I thought it might be a good idea just for our Small Caps audience to get a brief overview of the company and your projects.
Yeah, sure. So Octava's a sort of a WA-based exploration company. We've just picked up a new project, Federation in Tasmania, which we're very keen to get to. But we've also got a rare earth lithium project in Western Australia. And we also have a sort of a antimony nickel copper project in Western Australia as well. There's a project in the Kimberley, but it's in a joint venture with Future Metals. That's for platinum group metals and nickel. So they sort of run the exploration on that project. So yeah, we're based here, and we've been looking at a number of projects, and that's where we came up with Federation.
Fantastic. Now, Bevan, can you walk us through what attracted Octava to the Federation Copper Zinc Silver project in Tasmania that you've just mentioned, and why this is such a compelling addition to the company's portfolio of assets?
Yeah, sure. Federation's a great project, and there's a few reasons why we like the project. The Federation's located in a mineral-rich region of Western Tasmania with a number of high-grade mines nearby, such as Renison and Rosebery, Helier, and a few others. And they're sort of less than 30 kilometres away from the Federation project. The key motivator for us on this one really was, though, back in the late 70s, Renison conducted a drill program at the Sweeney's prospect. And in that drilling, they encountered some significant intersections of copper, zinc, silver, and tin. There was also some accessory antimony and fluorite, but they were not analysed at the time. They were just sort of visual identification. And this historic, I guess the surprising thing for us, this historic drilling's never been followed up. And so the mineralisation is really still open at depth and also along strike. So it presents us with a fantastic opportunity. And also having operating mines nearby, it does open up future possibilities for processing for the project. And there's also a number of hydro power stations in the district too. So there's a lot of good factors that we like about the project. And if we look a little bit wider, there's also a number of other really interesting prospects across the wider Federation area that we're looking forward to investigating further as well. So yeah, it's a great project.
Thank you, Bevan. And now you mentioned historic drilling at the Sweeney prospect has returned really impressive intersections. So how is your upcoming sort of exploration program going to be structured to test those in particular?
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, some of the drilling was very impressive. 23 metres at 1.2 copper, 1.7 zinc. There's silver and tin and some other metals. These intersections in the previous drilling, they were running from, near surface down to about 210 metres. And they're still open at depth. It's a really interesting project. And what we do like is we think the historic drill data points towards a potential larger VMS sulfide type system of mineralisation at Sweeney's. And so that's really exciting. Previous drilling, they've seen that the sort of the copper zinc sulfide mineralisation, there's the associated alteration, and we think this is primarily driven through some large structures that run through the project. So there's a lot of some similarities to, deposits such as Rosebery and Helier. So we can't wait. We're looking forward to, we want to drill out the known mineralisation that they intersected in the past, but also we want to target the deeper potential mineralisation at depth for a sort of a larger potential play there at Sweeney's. So yeah, we can't wait to get started at Sweeney's and get drilling.
Yeah, fantastic.
Also, as I mentioned, there's a number of other interesting targets at Federation, sort of located around the margins of the Hemskirk granite, and in time we'll certainly follow up on those prospects as well. So, yeah, it's got a good overall coverage.
Yeah, that's excellent. And of course, the company's now well funded to pursue all of those sort of exploration programs that you've just mentioned, because the company's just raised, I believe, 1.5 million to fund due diligence and exploration. So with that, Bevan, what can investors sort of start to expect to see in terms of news flow or key milestones in the next sort of 6 to 12 months?
Yeah, sure. No, we received strong support in our recent placement, which was really great. Now we're fully funded to get out there and do the work that we want to do. So we're aiming to drill the Sweeney's prospect as soon as possible. We've already started lodging the relevant permit applications, and now geos are going to be on the ground there shortly, assessing the old workings and scouting locations for the drilling. We'll also be doing an geophysics survey there. There's never been one done in that area, and this will really help us paint the picture of mineralisation at depth, which is, that's the bigger picture thing that we're interested in there to really test. So we'll certainly have some news flow coming out shortly and ongoing on this project, because there's a lot of work planned, and we're keen to get started. Also, some of the funds will be used on our Biro rare earth and lithium project, which has so far to date recorded some encouraging results in test work that we've had done on the material. So we expect to provide updates on this test work, in the coming weeks as well. So yeah, we've got some good work streams coming up, and it's really interesting.
Yeah, fantastic. Plenty of news flow for investors to look forward to in the short to medium term. So, Bevan, you just mentioned the Biro rare earths and lithium project that you have in WA, along with some of your other projects that you mentioned in your sort of overview earlier on. How does the Federation project complement your existing portfolio? And where do you see the greatest value being created for shareholders across your pipeline?
Yeah, sure. I think at Octava, we're in a great position at the moment. We see the Federation and the Biro projects as key drivers of future value for our shareholders. We really like the market fundamentals for metals like copper, zinc, tin, silver, which we know that Federation has, and we've just got to see what we can uncover there. These metals are, as we know, they're an essential part of the growing economy, but they're very key in the future of energy sort of economy as well. So we see strong upside demand for both of our projects. Like to see Biro as it's a bit of a slow burn, but it has significant upside if the current test work proves successful. Rare earth lithium prices have been on a bit of a roller coaster, and it's been pretty tough. So projects really need to be on the lower end of the cost curve, to deal with those fluctuations and navigate those prices. There's no shortage of projects out there. So processing is key with a lot of these projects, multi-element things like that. So we think Biro has the potential to be a large, low-cost supplier of rare earth and lithium, and so we think, yeah, we've got a couple of great stories there that are evolving, and we think there's significant upside for Octava.
Yeah, fantastic, Bevan. And just on that, I mean, so at Biro, you've done your preliminary sort of MET test work, as you've just mentioned, and that was in collaboration with CSIRO. And you mentioned that those results are starting to look very promising. How do you think that those results might sort of influence potential development pathways for this project?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I guess just to step back a bit, biomining is a process where metals are leached from an ore using microbes. It basically involves microbes deriving their energy for growth from oxidation of metal sulfides. So, it's been used to recover a variety of metals such as nickel, copper, gold. Um, and so we progressed down this path, and stage one involved really CSIRO identifying cultures that could adapt and thrive on the Biro ore, and show, good cell growth and all those sort of traits that you need for successful progress. And CSIRO were successful. They've identified cultures that work on the Biro ore, and now we'll move on, and stage 2 is currently underway, and that's going to really test how well these microbes can recover the metals from the Biro. So it's really interesting and progressive work that they're doing. If these recoveries come back in a sort of a targeted range for a early stage test work, then that could be a game changer for Biro. It's a very large sort of basin deposit area, so we think the sky could be the limit after that.
It's so exciting, Bevan. Now, with a foothold in both, Western Australia and Tasmania with your portfolio of assets, can you share what your broader vision is for Octava and where you see the company in the next sort of 2 to 3 years, if your strategy plays out that we've just sort of been touching on?
Yeah, sure. I guess it's early days at the moment, but we're targeting a significant resource at Federation, and that could be one that copper, zinc, silver, tin. We like the polymetallic project option, and then that material has a number of options to be supplied to nearby operations, or maybe it could be developed as a standalone operation. That's our key focus at the moment. We want to look to proving up a resource there. Work that's been done in the past has certainly given us some good signs, and we're going to sort of build on that work, and hopefully that's where the result will be. Also, again, I guess test work dependent, as a lot of these projects are, but we'd certainly look to move up reserves and resources there, and commence studies for project development. It'd be great. And then with the aim of becoming an Australian supplier of critical minerals, the project's in a great location. It's near the Dampier to Perth gas pipeline. There's an export port nearby. So yeah, that's sort of the two-pronged attack at the moment. And like I say, I think there's a lot of value that can come for Octava from those.
Yeah, fantastic, Bevan. You've mentioned this sort of dual strategy with your two, I guess, flagship assets now, if you want to call them that. One's more closer to development, one you're really hoping to build a large mineral resource around on the polymetallic side, as you mentioned, and also VHMS potential you mentioned as well with that project too, which is certainly very exciting and keeps your projects low on the cost curve, as you mentioned, which is very important for sort of junior companies exploring and developing to kind of survive cycles as well. Bevan, thank you so much. I just have one more question for you, and that is, can you provide our small caps audience with just 2 to 3 key investment takeaways as to why they should have Octava on their stock watch list?
Sure. Octava represents great value. We're fully funded for our current exploration programs on 2 great projects. We have a very tight shareholder structure. We've only got just over 100 million shares on issue, so there's a lot of it won't take a lot to move. We've got a good experienced board, and they're an outcomes focused board. We want to achieve results and get the work done for our shareholders and others. So I think Octava now is a great opportunity for to capitalise on some of the future outcomes that we're going to see.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bevan. So great chatting to you and learning more.
Yeah, you too.
Federation, along with your other projects. And also congratulations on your recent cap raise, and really looking forward to seeing the work streams that come out with your news flow in the next few months, and hopefully have you back on the show very soon.
That sounds great, Jess. Thanks very much for the time, and look forward to talking to you in the future.